What's up, YouTube family? I am Gerald, and I am a pastor at a church. Hey, hope y'all are having a great day today. Coming back with another video about just kind of crazy things that have happened over the course of 17 years of ministry that have happened that are church related. Some of these are comical. Some of them are not so comical. We're doing a couple of, we do a light-hearted one today. I got my co-pilot here with me, Darla. If you've only been a subscriber of this channel and not of my lawn channel, you don't know this, but we are dog people. Yeah, we are dog people. All rescues. So it's like we have a magnet. People just drop them off by our house. We have 6 rescue dogs. But anyway, this channel is more about seeing the perishing rescued. So, I get a call one Saturday, from one of my deacons. And I answered the phone. I said, his name was Paul. I said, hey, Brother Paul, what's going on? He said, we're not going to be able to have church tomorrow. Or he said, I don't think we're going to be able to have church tomorrow. I said, okay, why? And he said, the rain. And you know, we kind of have a joke in Baptist churches. It's probably in all churches, but we say it only takes 3 drops of rain to keep a Baptist away, right? It just, if it gets cloudy out, a Baptist just won't come to church. Now, I know that's a broad brush. That's meant for humor, so don't take that too serious. But the truth of the matter is, when you have inclement weather, rain out, most places, it hurts your attendance that week. That service. So I said, okay. He said, well, I just rode out to the church, and you're not going to be able to get there unless you got a 4-wheel drive. And I said, oh, okay. Now, I hadn't been at this church a very long time, and it was in a very remote area, as it's one of those areas, you know, we joke about that you got to you got to pipe sunshine in there. It was definitely out. The shortest amount of dirt road that you could go down in order to get to the church property was about 2.5 miles of dirt road. And the other way that you come in is probably 3 or 4 miles. And one of the issues we had, I had just never really thought about it. I was thinking, man, you know, because at that time, I had been going to church somewhere in the neighborhood 8-9 years. We had never canceled a service. I could never remember a service being canceled anywhere I'd ever been. And so I'm just like, I'm shocked, you know. And he was being, you know, they had been down this road before. He said, now, it's your choice, preacher, but I don't think we can do it. And I said, okay, so what's going on? He said, well, the one road, you got to have a 4-wheel drive to go down it. It's got a lot of clay on it, and it is, you know, people are out there riding up and down it. It is a mud hole. He said, the other way that you could come in is not that muddy, but it's all washed out. I said, okay. I said, well, brother, you're over there, you're on site. You know, I trust your judgment. I mean, you know what y'all have done in the past. You know the conditions of the road. I lived about 22, 23 miles from this congregation. And so, and again, I was still fairly new there. And I was like, okay, you know, I don't know if we need to cancel. I mean, let's do it. So what I come to one of the things I come to realize that I had never, you know how you just drive and you don't really pay attention to things? Well, the next week when I went over, I got to noticing the good road going in, the one that was washed out, one side of the road was an embankment, and it was probably 4 foot high. And the other side of the road, so going in to your right, you had about a 4 foot embankment. To your left, there was a little bit of a drop off, not a whole lot, but a little bit. And so what would happen, that on the other side of that embankment, the land was high. And so when you'd get what some of these folks in the South would call a gully washer, that's what it would do. It would wash a gully across the road, because all of that water coming down off of that high embankment would just rage across the road going to that low area. And as it did, it would just erode away, I mean, like 4 foot sections of the road base. And, you know, it might be several feet deep. And so he was right. You know, there was just no way that you were going to go in there, you know, in a little car or something like that. Now, you know, if you had a rock climbing Jeep, you know, you can come to church. So, but that's kind of how it was. But I don't know. I just always thought, you know, that was funny in some sense. And now, one of the things I have learned in ministry, there are times, I believe, when it's wise to cancel church. As a matter of fact, we just canceled church a couple of weeks ago where I serve at now. We got a lot of ice, and where we live in South Georgia, we're just not prepared for ice. And not only were the roads bad, our property was bad. Our sidewalks were covered. Our buildings were covered, and that stuff could come off at any time. And it was just dangerous. It would have been a liability. And so we chose to cancel services. We canceled services when the last hurricane come through here. We were without power at our home. We were without power for 13 days. I think we were without power for maybe 4 days at the church, and our whole community there was just without power. And so we elected not to have a service. Now, we could have. We would have had to do it outside, and you know, and some churches had it. Nothing wrong with that. We have had severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, you know, coming through, and especially midweek on Wednesday, you know, we've canceled a number of services for just inclement weather. And a lot of it just has to do with your context, what you're used to, what the norm is. Over the course of time, I have learned to err on the side of caution, because I wasn't a big fan of canceling services early on in ministry. But, you know, I learned to be, here's what I figured out. Every church I've been at, the senior adults, those 70, 80 plus years old, if you have service, they're going to be there. They feel obligated to be there. And listen, feeling obligated to be at church is not a bad thing. But when you take somebody who already has mobility issues and you start bringing them in when the weather's nasty, or have them out driving when you can't see past the hood of your vehicle, for me, I consider those things. Now, I know some people don't. That's okay. Some people say, hey, use your own judgment, you know, whatever. That's fine. That's fine. Now, I am a little more cautious on a Sunday, because that is the first day of the week. We're supposed to gather. We're supposed to worship. A Wednesday night, I can cancel it at the drop of a hat. Not that I like doing it, but there's no mandate for it, scripturally speaking, right? And at least that's my conviction. And so You know, some churches have midweek on Tuesday or on Thursday, right? Doesn't matter, you know. So if we have weather that doesn't look favorable for our folks to be out on the road for a midweek, I'll cancel it, you know. So anyway, just wanted to share that story. If you got a wild story, something happened, drop it down in the comments. I would love to hear your story. Hey, appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And my prayer for you is always the same, that the Lord might richly bless you and that you might see all of your blessings as from Him.